Hi everyone, in this video we're going to look at the 7-a-side press in field hockey, and I've made a very similar video on YouTube already, but that was for a slightly different formation. I thought I'd just make it again for the most popular formation, which is the 2 centres, the 3 midfielders and the 1 forward, so the 2-3-1. Now the reason I've got these 3 in the same colour, it's all about the arrowhead at the press, and I'll say it now, but I'll say it many times throughout this video. If you 3 don't do your role correctly, everything fails, so no pressure. So this is what an arrowhead looks like. Okay, so I was trying to show you there with a mouse before, but look to get this shape. Now we've got 2 centre backs. This is the 2-3-1 we're defending against. So we've got a centre forward protecting the ball to goal line. So that is a line from where the defenders have the ball to the goal. Our goal. We are defending this goal. This is our goalie. And you stand on that line. This would be exactly the same if it wasn't a 16. Like, let's say the ball was here, like a long corner, for example. We would do the exact same setup. So here's an arrowhead. We'll talk a bit more about your positioning in just a second. But let's have a look here what's happening. We've got a free centre half that you can roam in and out of these spaces. And we've got 2 of their players here. So we play a mark. Okay, this is simple. So some people are player marking, some people are zonal marking, and that's really important. What about if they only have 1 defender? So like a 3-1-2 formation. You know, this is how we set up in the previous video. Well, then in this case, we have 3 player marking, okay, but the arrowhead is exactly the same. You'll notice that this player is a lot closer to this one than this one because the ball is on this side of the pitch. Okay, but again, we'll talk a bit more about that in a minute. I don't think a team's ever going to do this. But if you find a situation after the arrowhead, there's an overload of players, then leave the deepest one, okay, because they have to get it to them, and the goalie can be high, so the goalie can mark this player. Just don't come out of your circle, especially if you're going to use your pads. You can only use your stick outside the circle. You know, so for example, if they were to make this sort of lead, then if they would make that sort of lead, we'd obviously follow them. And in this scenario, in our heads, we're counter defense. So this player would take the deeper player, and this player would take here, something like that. And then we're player marking again. And the left wing back, you can cover any of those runs off here. So then it's just hold the players up, try and win the ball back, and go on attack. Right? But the chance of that happening is really small. So let's talk about our individual roles. So centre forward, you are responsible for these 2 players. The left wing and right wing, you're responsible for the wide players. And then in here, we are player marking. So I've set this up for this player being free, and you'll be having the option to intercept any of these through balls. You may prefer it to be this player, or you may prefer to promote your centre back to player mark here, and your centre half to roam free in these areas. Okay, so that's a personal team choice. Which of these players is the free roamer and which of them is the player marker? Okay, certainly to start off with, I might start with this player roaming, and then if they're a good team, I might switch to have the option here. Okay, what about if there's only 1 defender, like the 3-1-2 formation? Well, centre forward, that's your player, and again, the wingers, you're here. But this time we're obviously player marking. Okay. Right, so let's look at the press. So we'll talk a bit more about your positioning now. So the centre forward, ball to goal line, really simple. The left wing, if we're too high, if this pass is made, you've already been beaten. Okay, so you need to be level, or if not, slightly behind this player. Okay, you want to be high enough that you can cut the ball out as well. So you don't want to be too deep, right? Because this isn't the ideal position we want the ball to be played. We're going to talk a bit more, but the ideal position we want the ball in a press is here. So you want to be high enough that you can do your role, which we'll talk about in a minute, but not too high or not too deep that you just get beaten in one pass. But you'll notice you're not player marking, because if you came in wide, then the ball can be played into this space easy. So we are quite compact, but close enough that we can get to this player if the ball goes there. Right, and that's really, really important. The right wing back, you could be a bit higher, to be honest. You could be here where my cursor is, because that puts doubt in. We don't want the ball to go all the way across here in one go. We want it to go here first, because that is, they've switched the ball. An early pass can get right into these sort of areas very, very quickly. So you want to make sure you're putting doubt in this defender's mind about this pass, but you're not all the way over here, because that creates so much space into this area here. Okay, so we're protecting, like, say, 2/3 of the pitch at one time. And again, in this situation, we've got player marking. So here we go. So that's the ideal pass. If that pass is made, then our arrowhead, you are going to move. You can see we're still protecting the ball to goal line, and we're much closer to this player now, and we've kind of left this one. Again, you might step to here, so that ball can't be played. That's a really dangerous ball. We want to stop that ball being played, so you might want to creep up a little bit. Okay, the centre back, that your player marking, so if the players move, you move, and this free roaming centre back, obviously you will move as well. You don't have to come deep. You could just come into this area or here, because you've gone a little bit defensive a bit too early maybe there. So you could be roaming around this area, or you can promote this player and you player mark. Okay, so this is where we want the ball. Okay, so we want to win the ball here. Why? It's on our forehand, and it's the opposition attacking down their weaker backhand side. So how are we going to win the ball in this area? Well, very simple. You three have to do your job. So the centre forward and the right wing, the most important positions. You cut the ball going back, so that is no longer an option. If this player moves here, well, then let them, because if you go, then they can just transfer it here. We don't want that. This is the ball we want to cut off. If these teams switched on and they do that, then fine, we'll pin them in here. That's not a problem either. Okay, the right wing, what have you done? Well, you could be a lot closer than this, but you are stopping the ball coming in. You're not diving in on a challenge. You're putting pressure on, saying you are not passing the ball here, but you are allowed to pass it there. So this is what we want this player to do, to think, oh golly, no option there, no option there. Let's just pass it down the line. Okay. Also here, we can see we're front marking. So this player's looked up. There's no option here. There's no option there. There's no option centrally here. I have to pass it down the line. So, and remember, do not block the line. You are going to allow them to do it. And why? Because this centre back, no matter if they run, you are going to run into that space and protect the line. You could stay quite close to them until this pass is made, but then you have to be thinking, they're going to make this pass because my teammates have blocked every other option, and you just run forwards, you take the ball, and then we can move it and counter-attack. The centre back, you move across at this point, just in case something does get thundered through here. We've got cover. The left wing, you're going to move in. You'll move in, and there's no square option out of here. Yeah, so if this player did move here, we could block this off with this player. We've just got to make sure this option isn't on. But that's pretty risky pass to do from there anyway. Okay, so this is the most important press. This is where we're going to look to win the ball. This is the only place in the press we look to win the ball. Okay, let me make sure that's clear to you now. Okay, so we still want to win it here. This time there's only one defender, not the two. So we've got to be a bit more careful here, right? We're going to have to split up a little bit wider, because this ball is going to be played and this ball is going to be played. We might choose to stop this one. We might choose to go up a bit higher, but allow this one. It's fine if you drop a bit more, allowing this pass, because we only have to stop the 45, stop the inward pass. Okay, so if that ball is played, you're going to do the same thing. Cut off the pass back, cut off any pass inside. We've gone a bit too far here, really. Okay, but allowing them to go down the line and put pressure on, like get nice and close, put pressure on. We're in a player mark situation, but they're going to run, right? But the centre back, you have to stop the ball coming down the line. Now, this is an option. Okay, I wouldn't do this until this ball is played. So I've moved it a bit too early. You should stay here at this point. But once this ball is played down the line, oh, sorry, it's not going to happen. Once this ball is played down the line, then you go switch on counter defense mode. But can you see how this player is front marking? This player is ready for any lead here. You are going to get into this space. The most annoying thing for these three is if they've done their job, the ball is passed down the line and one of them get it. It's so frustrating. So please make sure you have the confidence to leave your player and win the ball in here. Why can you? Because if the ball is played down, we go to counter defense mode with this player. All right, so we're still player for player. It's fine. Yeah, so that option, or you could, this is a bit high tech, so I wouldn't do this, right? But you could promote. Okay, so you could do that. But then if you do that, this player could easily just smash the ball back through. So I don't like it. So I would just stay there, intercept any pass until this pass is made. Then I would run goal and go into counter defense. Okay, skip through that. Okay, what about on the left-hand side? So if the ball comes here, we have a different role. We do not want to win it here. Why? That's our backhand. Why? We don't want to intercept it on our backhand. So the left wing, watch how this is different. You cut the line. You don't allow the ball down, but you do allow the ball inside. The centre half, you allow the transfer. We don't want to win it here. We don't want the ball here. We want them to transfer it over to here. This is where we'll win it. Now, the centre back, in this situation, we've got an overload of players, right? This is a best situation for us. So the centre back, you're going to promote. And the right wing, so if a player moves, which they will, because they're going to lead to help their player out. Obviously, we're player marking. So if you're player marking, you're always player marking. It's only the front three that do this. And we'll come across like this to form a pocket. Okay, we're going to do lots of exercises in training on pockets. But on this side, we form a pocket. Okay, and you can see how intimidating that is, like the numerical advantage we have there. You know, this is player marking, so whatever they do, you player mark. If the ball comes into the pocket, this is really, really important, is we collapse in on the pocket. So we've got three players here trying to win the ball. Do not foul, just put pressure on. The ideal situation for us, and obviously we've got, if they get through, we've got counter defense. The ideal scenario is the pass back. If the pass is made back, the arrowhead would go to where it is. I don't know why this player's gone so far. You should have been here. That's just my dodgy animation. So imagine this player is here. So we've still got this arrowhead. We've still got the player marking. We've still got this cover. If they do try and crash it through, we've got the player marking option here. But at this point, a good team are going to look to transfer the ball. And if they transfer, R3, move. Yeah, so now you're in the right position. We encourage the pass here. So they'll make the pass there. Any run that they make, okay, we're still counter defense. And the centre back, yeah, don't hang about there. You're looking to intercept any through balls. Okay, just so they might transfer it here, and that's when we try and win the ball again down here. Okay, let's look at again if it's a 3-1-2 formation. So the ball is passed left. We do exactly the same thing. So the left wing cuts the line. The centre forward cuts like a square inward pass. The right wing, you're going to come over here. You're going to have to leave. You're going to have to leave your player, okay? Because we need to form the pocket and this player can't step up. But is it much risk? No. This player is probably going to lead into the pocket anyway. But look at our numerical advantage on this system. They can't get the ball there because this player's cut it off. You know, if they stay here, you know, we are kind of player marking, but in a pocket, but they're probably going to lead in anyway. And when they lead, we get 1 collapse, 2 collapse, and even this one could have collapsed as well, okay? But again, they're going to push it out if they're a good team, and then they'll transfer, and we'll try and win the ball back over here. So the pocket on the left, and we win the ball on the right. You know, I will say, if the ball does come into here and we win it, obviously that's something that's good for us because we've got 4 versus 1. So we do want to try and win it here if they try and turn. But the most important thing is you put pressure on and you don't foul. If they're not very good and they just try and run it through a forehand, yeah, let's take it, obviously. Okay, so, and you know, we're player marking. Right, let's say they do make a lead and the ball comes in, then the job here, you just hold them up, okay? Don't try and be a hero, because it's just you try and hold them up and force a backward pass. Obviously, if it happens, we go into slight counter defense mode, so we'd be thinking about this, okay? But this is about putting pressure on and try and get a pass back out. Again, we could have cut this ball could have been cut off here, and allow any of these passes is fine, because if they put it here, we're going to a pocket. If they go here, this is where we try and win the ball. Okay, I hope that makes sense, and can't wait to see it in action. Good luck, everyone.